Before his time as a coach here in Australia, he played professional football for clubs like Fulham, Crystal Palace, Bristol Rovers, Reading and Selangor. Say that for me again. Is that Welsh? As well as playing for the Welsh national team. Can you put your hands together for our host, Jeff Hopkins? I'll leave it up to Jeff to introduce his guests on the couch tonight as well.
Thanks, Bubs.
Enjoy.
Thank you, Bubs, for that introduction. Selangor's a Malaysian team, by the way, not Welsh. Look, I'm really excited to be here today. Hopefully, you're having a good time here, enjoying all the information that's been given. Most probably the thing that's exciting me is that I'm up here asking the questions, not sat down there getting questions asked to me. So, pressure's on, ladies. Now, look, it's a good opportunity for all of us to just listen to four different coaches with different experiences, just giving their impression of how they've come into the game, what they're doing at the moment, and some of the problems, some of the issues that arise for female coaches in the game at the moment. So let's get them up here. First of all, I'd just like to give you a brief bio of all the coaches, and we'll start with Louise McColl. Louise, I've seen as a Liverpool supporter since the age of 4, kicking around in her red Liverpool jersey. She played for Warrington Ladies in the UK and started coaching around the age of 19. And since then, she's taken coaching badges over in the UK. Moved here 10 years ago, and over the last 10 years has been coaching boys and girls. Yeah, between the age of 9 and 15 years of age. Just recently working in coach development and course presentations at FFV. Are you coming up on the stage, or are you? Yeah, come on, up you come. Come and take a bow. Next coach to introduce is Alex Gummer. I know a lot about Alex as I coached her the last couple of seasons for Victory, but don't know too much about her as a coach, so this is quite interesting for me. Alex is an experienced player. She's played overseas with Doncaster Rover Bells. She's been at Adelaide United in the W-League, and obviously with ourselves here at Melbourne Victory. Also, she's been playing a game since she's 5, and came through the Victorian state system as well. So played year on year through those. So she's been coaching girls teams since 2014. And is currently technical director at Brunswick City FC's girls program. In 2015, she was awarded the FFV Community Female Coach of the Year. So let's make her welcome. Cassie Dimovski is a goalkeeper coach here in Victoria. She played at the highest level with Melbourne Victory in the W-League. And left the game maybe a little bit disillusioned, thinking, most probably looking at the support that she was given and players are given, and on a consistent level. Her aim now is to give female goalkeepers the best chance to progress through, and encouraging goalkeepers to pursue professional careers. So, up you come, Cass. And this is the one I've been really dreading, pronouncing your surname. So, Annick, Fokchak, have I done it right? Excellent, good. Annick has coached various boys and girls teams since 2005, very experienced coach. right from under 8s through to seniors and Victorian state teams. She's taken squads overseas, coached here, so very experienced coach, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what she's got to say. Interesting thing is that after working in the corporate world in the IT industry, decided to have a career change and really follow her passion to become full-time in the in the football industry. So and she's now working with the NCC program, the girls program here in Victoria. So as I said, it's going to be really interesting hearing the experiences of the coaches. The coach, just from a coaching perspective, but also from the angle of being female coaches and the special circumstances and problems that may arise with being a female coach. Sometimes in a male environment, which is I'm quite interested to see. I guess I'll start. The first question is for Louise, and that's when you take over a new position at a club. Do you ever feel that your sessions, your ideas are maybe scrutinised a little bit more by other coaches, by parents? More than maybe a male coming into that position would be scrutinised?
Okay, I guess initially the answer is probably yes, but a bit of a background to that would be initially when I think that's just a generation thing. I think everybody should be scrutinised is one point, because if you're not getting, you shouldn't be afraid of having your sessions looked at or what you're doing looked at. So for me, I'll come back to how I'm comfortable with that, but I think it is something that does happen. When you started off, or when I started off on your coaching local sides, grassroots, I think at first it's a scary opportunity, but you take it, as Ray was saying earlier, take those opportunities, you get the bag and you start coaching. And then you think, uh-oh, parents are watching me. I didn't think about that part of coaching. Because when you're playing football, I didn't really care what people were thinking because I knew I could play. Well, I thought I could anyway, but maybe not as well as I thought I could. But then after doing grassroots coaching for a long time, and then you get comfortable. I don't think it's a good thing to get comfortable, but you do get comfortable. And then all of a sudden, another opportunity comes along, and I took the opportunity to coach boys NPL for the last 3 years. But yep, fine, give me the balls, give me the gear, put the session on. Uh-oh, now there's parents that are paying a lot of money for me to coach their sons. So again, you feel this tingle down your spine, and people are watching my sessions, and it's yeah, think, oh, what are they thinking? I'm not speaking enough? Do they think that I don't know what I'm talking about? And I had this all going through my head for a while, but I think I've been very, very lucky to have met people throughout the coaching industry, I guess, over here, that I've been able to call mentors for myself. So a phone call to one of these people, and I said to him, this is what's happening. He said, well, do you know football? Yes. Do you know how to coach? Yes. Are you learning? Yes. What are you worrying about? And I think once I could go, do you know what? Yeah, I do know what I'm doing. I have the confidence to do this, and it's then no longer caring that people are watching, but still wanting to be my best every time I coach, but no longer caring about that. What do people think? Because it doesn't really matter as long as you're doing the best that you can do. I think that's my experience, if that answers it. So yes, I do feel it's scrutinised, but that's a generation
Would you
thing.
say you feel more scrutinised as a female coaching male players?
Yes, because I'm a female coaching male players, and so you do, there possibly are fathers there that may think they know more, but I'm very confident in that. As soon as they've seen the way that I am with their players, if their kids, whether it's boys or girls, go home happy and want to come back the following session, that you've won then. And if they keep wanting to come back, then they no longer start. They then, as soon as the cold nights come in, they're no longer watching your session. I can tell you that. They're in the car. So, yeah, exactly, yeah. So, yes, they do, because it's a as we talking about earlier, it is a generation thing that we're changing. But by me, I say I have mainly coached boys, but I do coach girls and boys. And involved with coach development, I'm looking after, teams with boys and girls. But yeah, it's just having that, just have the confidence to go and do it and change that generation. So if I've coached hundreds of boys over the last 10 years, hopefully some of them are going to turn into men who will no longer question when they have a female or male coach. It shouldn't be questioned either way. Okay, that's a good answer. Basically, you're saying you'll show how great you are, and then you'll change the minds. Just be confident and be confident in your own ability, but try and get better every time, and you've got nothing to worry about. Just be confident. Great
answer. This is a question for Cassie. It's actually been brought up a little bit earlier by Bubs. First of all, do you mix your female and male players together?
I do.
Yep. And that's good. And if you do, how do you actually make that work, and how do you go about doing things?
Yeah, so I do mix girls and boys, and like I said, Bubs and Julie did touch on it before, and I do think it's very, very important to do so. How do I do it? Well, I mean, the first few sessions are definitely crucial. There's definitely a process that happens when you get girls and boys together. I mean, step number one is when the girl goes in, the boy kicks and trickles the ball into the girl. So that's step number one, is to nip that in the butt and make sure that they are hitting it in just as hard as they're hitting it into the boys. Step number two is to create a competitive environment. And that gets girls versus boys mixed together. And you kind of get this process that definitely happens where something clicks and they're competitive, and the girl and boy team, obviously there's two teams, one wins, they're high-fiving, celebrating, and the other team, the losers, are bickering and blaming each other for why they lost. And I think that's when you realise that they now see each other as equals, and from then on just become super, super competitive. Yeah.
So again, why you put the girls in there for what reason? What is it for? Intensity? You want the intensity?
Well, I think for many reasons. I mean, girls and boys offer different skills and attributes in
That's
different
what
ways.
I'm trying to get at. The reasons you put them in with the boys. Again, do you highlight as well what the girls bring to the session as well? That's kind of.
Well, I think the girls definitely understand drills a lot quicker than maybe the boys do.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe putting the girls first can kind of show the boys how it's done in a way.
No, this is what I'm getting at. It's because obviously it's not about taking them in and improving them. It's about what they bring to the session as well, which is really important. Yeah,
and I definitely do understand that the girls' side of it, in a way, they are competing against each other. They're very similar ages, so there may be, at some points, some tension, maybe who's playing, who's not, similar to the boys. By putting them together and competing, that girl's not really competing for that guy's spot. So it kind of eliminates all tension in that session. And as a coach, that's really fun because I don't have to micromanage and make sure no one's killing each other, from the weeks to come. So, yeah.
That's great. Question for Alex. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've, as a female coach, have had to overcome?
I think it's, first important to note that I think I'm very much in my infancy of becoming a coach. I'm still playing, I'm still going through that transition. I think that I've been actually extremely fortunate in that I haven't really had too many challenges. I've recently completed my C licence, my youth and senior, through Melbourne Victory and the PFA. Through that, our coaching, it was a mixture of W-League players and other players within the Melbourne and other, workers within the Melbourne Victory Football Club. And all of our ideas, whether we were female or male, were encouraged and respected. So I think, that's an important thing. Through the coaching licence, I was able to, gain more confidence in that transition also from being a player to a coach. I think that's something that's really important. also, I guess, with my playing, I've also been very fortunate enough to, double that with coaching. And at this stage of my career of coaching, I think the best place that I can help out with the game is through the grassroots level, through the skill acquisition phase. I think that, as I'm still playing and I'm working full time, I think I'm able to give the most I can to the skill acquisition phase. I don't have enough time to, I guess, develop the tactics beside it. And I think, with the girls, having a role model to look up to, I think that's something that's, really important. So I think with all the clubs that I've been able to coach at, so Boroondara Eagles, South Melbourne, and now Brunswick City, I think I've actually been targeted to be a role model for these young girls growing up. So they've seen the pathway that I've done as a player, and having a female role model, I think it really helps them.
How about your background as a player and then coming in to coach girls as a W-League player? High expectations on you there?
Not really. I think they're more excited, especially at the start. I don't think that there's any expectations because, especially at the skill acquisition level, I think my most important thing for them is to ensure that they're enjoying it and they have so much passion for the game. And I think that hopefully the way that I coach and the way I carry myself in my sessions, that I have so much passion and enthusiasm that it hopefully can reflect with them and they can carry that forward.
Okay. Good answer, thank you. It's probably you talk about you being a young, little bit inexperienced coach. We'll head on to Annick now, and just you've been around coaching for quite a while now. You're
making me sound old.
Not old compared to who you're sitting. Not.
Well, I'll tell you a little funny story. I've actually coach these two. That's how old I am.
Okay, maybe you are quite old then. No, I'm really interested to know if you could share with us how you think you've developed as a coach and some of the experiences that you've had that have helped change you into the coach you are today.
Well, so many. I think importantly, I think you need to experience all different levels of the game, from grassroots. I'm in the performance phase at the moment. All sorts of ages, I think, makes you a coach in terms of learning. I enjoy coaching all sorts of players, their abilities, their levels. I think because you get all the different type of players, that teaches you as a coach, I guess, how to speak to people, how to acknowledge the different types of players that you have to coach, and that teaches you as well the different types of, I think, coaching challenges you come across when you meet different people, different ages, females, boys, it doesn't matter. I think everything that you do as you progress in your coaching, you learn from. So learning has been the biggest thing for me as an experience, I think. Would
you say you're a different coach now to what you were? Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Day and night, is it?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
You have different mentors along the way, and they give you and challenge you differently. And I think, looking back, I wouldn't change anything because it's helped me to be the coach that I am today. Good or bad, you have good experiences and bad, and I think those experiences help you further hopefully your football career or coaching career that you're trying to aspire to.
So through your period, you've had a number of people that have helped you, and
male and females.
Yeah. Anyone in particular that, or maybe not mentioning names, but maybe that have helped you in a certain way that you could share with us?
I guess one experience that's popped into my mind is coaching back in the Women's Premier League days. When I was coaching the 16 girls, I had a mentor there that the thing I took away was be yourself. Don't coach how I coach. Yes, I'm giving you some information. Yes, I'm helping with football knowledge, but don't coach how I coach. Be yourself.
Yeah.
And that's really important.
Okay, thank you. If we head back to Louise again. Probably for yourself, just looking at looking at some of the challenges. I want to look at it from a different perspective. So, friends, family. When you go to them and explain to them that how passionate you are about football and the time you want to spend in there, how's that been? How have you been received by members of your family and friends that, yeah, look, this is what I want to do, this is my passion? Have you always had an understanding from people around you, or have you been questioned in that side of things?
I think this microphone's broken.
Swap.
I think I've been very lucky in that. I guess I'm quite a private person in that I don't let everybody know everything that I'm doing. So close friends, close family, they know what I want to do, and if they know if I'm passionate about something, I sink my teeth into it, and that's what I'm going to do, and tend to focus on what I want to do. So from when I met who my husband is now, when I met him, he wasn't my husband then. He obviously we met in England, so we're both football fans. Unfortunately, he's an Everton fan, so
oh wow, cool.
You know, we got off to a rocky start, but it's okay now. So
you must have a strong relationship, I tell you.
So he's always understood that, you know, I love football. Friends and family that know me knew that I like football. I think so the people that know me and I say I want to do football, they know that I mean I want to be in the football industry network, and that's what I would like to do. Outside of that, yeah, you do say, oh, what do you do? Oh, coach football. Oh, yeah, but what do you do? Oh, okay, well, I coach football. So then you just sort of, you don't tend to go on about it too much to people. However, I think in saying that, there's very, very few full-time football jobs in the country, let alone for females. So and it's very hard-working, not lucky, because I don't think you can't say it's lucky because of the amount of work that she's done. I'm lucky in that I've got now part-time work in football, which is a fantastic opportunity, which I would take. So again, it's who you surround yourself with. I've surrounded myself with people that will support whatever it is I wanted to do. And so I don't feel like I've had a challenge explaining it to friends and family. However, I understand that it can be a challenge for other people out there, because it's a hobby, and that's what people is perceived to be. It's a hobby. Why would you get paid for your hobby? Even though your hobby might take up 40 hours of your week, it's still a hobby. So you do have to supplement it with other work, or have a very understanding family. So my husband works during the day as a musician. He comes home, then I go out coaching. So, luckily he's learned to be a very good cook. He's not under the thumb. He's just a very good cook and knows how to do stuff. So the kids get looked after, and we've just learned how to manage that. But I think it's very important. Surround yourself with people that support you. Surround yourself with people that are going to be honest with you. So not people that are going to say, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea," if it's really not a good idea, and be honest with them too. So have that close network. You need it. It's really important. And I think the old saying that we've had lately with myself and a couple of mentors was, do what you love and then love what you do. And that's something that I've heard said around lately, but I really believe that. So, yeah, surround yourself with good people, and it's okay.
That's good. I think therein lies the problem. There's not enough full-time paying jobs for female coaches in the game. There's lots of full-time work to do, but to make the jump from and move from a full-time job to then doing what you really love is hopefully as the game progresses we can get more full-time positions in the game filled with female female coaches. Cassie, another question for yourself. Again, this is one I'm interested in, and most of the coaches in there will as well. With your goalkeeper coaches, for you, how do you balance what you think the goalkeeper needs to progress long term against what your head coach wants in terms of what they want from their goalkeepers?
Yeah, look.
And does it cause you any stress and any anxiety with you and with your relationship with the head coach?
Oh, I can handle myself. Well, yeah, I think we can all agree that there can be some different opinions between head coach and goalkeeping coach in relation of what that keeper needs and priorities on what they need to progress. Personally, I think I need to take a long-term approach and make sure goalkeepers are developing full circle and they're able to perform, at any style. Obviously, every coach in this room might have a different idea of how they want to play, and I want to make sure that my goalkeepers can fulfil any certain style that you want to play with no fuss at all. Mm-hmm. So prioritising what they need versus what may come in the future, for me, I think it's equally important to make sure we spend equal time on different aspects, especially if one of my goalkeepers maybe trials or plays for another team and they're able to fulfil that playing style that coach may need to get into that team. Yeah, so I think it's very important.
Just moving on from there, with your sessions as well, have you ever come across a coach that lets you take your keepers in a session and take the back four and maybe a midfield with the goalkeeper and let you run the session? Or
not so far, but I do sometimes borrow some players outside of training.
Yeah.
And in our own time during the week, we utilise them with my sessions, especially strikers. If they want to practice their striking and finishing, I think it's vital that they can come train with my goalkeepers. Yeah. And
do you incorporate your keepers with the back four very often in a sort of game-like situations, or is it more isolated stuff that you do with them?
Yeah.
Or does that depend on the age and the ability of the keepers that you? Yeah,
look, I think that is the direction that I think the FFA wants to progress into, from what I've learnt from the coaching courses, that it will be important to not only just coach the goalkeepers, but in relation to with the defenders as well. In my experience, I'm not quite sure if we're there yet, but I think hopefully in future we can utilise goalkeeping knowledge in relation to the defence. I think it would be quite vital. Yeah.
Okay. Alex, off we go again. Again, I'm giving you all the hard questions here. As female coaches, where do you feel now the challenges lie in the next 5 or 10 years for coaches?
Well, I think it's really important to note how far it's come. From, I've been in the game for 20 years now, and to see more female coaches, more players, and the standards improve, I think that's, one thing to note. But I think one of the biggest challenges that we'll have to overcome is complacency. I guess, you can always look back and say, oh, look, this is how far we've come. But we need to see lots of leaders in coaching, and to continue the growth forward in the coaches, the number of female coaches, the education of female coaches, and hopefully, as you mentioned earlier, ability to have roles full time.
Yeah. So where do you see in the next 5 to 10 years? What would your ideal situation be if you're looking at W-League coaches? Are you looking at national team? What would be an ideal for you?
As in regards to my own coaching, or just in coaching in general? In general, obviously, I'd like to see a higher proportion of female coaches coaching within the W-League, and maybe potentially long term, maybe even the A-League. But I think we've got quite a long way to go before that happens. But national teams, and even, I guess, grassroots, to having, girls having role models as, the female coaches. But just hopefully that the education of these coaches can grow so that, at the end of the day, it's picking the best coach for the job. And I think, with all the education, and hopefully it can be, a female at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I guess, how likely do you see that? Do you think we're heading in the right direction to make that happen in the next 5 to 10 years?
Look, I think we are making steps, but as you see, the growth of the female game is ridiculous, and it's everyone's getting on the bandwagon. And you see, I think especially in the UK, there are a lot of ex-professional male players now that are seeing coaching females as a viable career. With the likes of Phil Neville and Neil Redfern as well. So I think it is actually going to be a lot harder, but I think we are taking those steps forward, and so hopefully we can see it, but it is going to be difficult.
Okay, again, one last question for you. Where do you maybe see yourself in 10 years in the coaching? In 10 years?
Yeah. Hopefully I'll still be playing, but with coaching wise, I think as I mentioned earlier, right now my passion is the skill acquisition phase, but as I move fully from that transition from playing to coaching, hopefully I'll be able to take on more senior sides, and I think I'd like to coach both women and men, so I think definitely I'd like to just continually learn and hopefully become the best that I can be, but hopefully I guess coaching senior women and men, I think and developing that tactical side of the game, I think that's where I'd like to be. I have no real right now, obviously focusing on playing, but I've got long-term goals that I know I want to coach senior men and women somewhere. So I think I'll leave the options open and take any opportunities as they come.
Okay, great stuff. Excellent. And just lastly, back to Annick. Here's one that I've not worked out in 30 years of coaching. Question for you is how you manage to balance your coaching, family life and home life. Give us a few tips. I'll be listening very, very hard to this one.
Don't annoy your husband. A very supportive husband. I'm very lucky to communicate all my training nights, when I attend events, all those sort of things. To be open and communicative is huge. Very organised, cook meals for 2 days, those sort of things, and having the right support people. It's really important. I've got a little one. I need babysitters at times, school pickups, all those sort of things. So you need to be organised in that space, and have support to be able to help you through those times that you're not available.
How was your transition from a full-time job in IT, is it, to making the decision to leave that and
it was easy. I didn't want to do that anymore. I love football. Yeah, I love it. I love sports. So the football part is a bonus. The fact that I get to work in sports is awesome. So it was a no-brainer when it came up, and I was really fortunate to be approached and to apply for the position that I am in today. And I've worked with a great staff and boss. Thanks, Boris. And I'm really lucky. Really, I feel that I'm lucky, but I've done my time as well. I've really learnt along the way, and hopefully I can, all the knowledge that I have and I'm still learning, can help the players develop further.
Boris was telling me he was going to give you a few days off to spend with the family as well just now. So.
Thanks, boss.
Well done, Boris. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, look. Thanks for answering those questions and giving us a bit of an insight into your lives and some of the things you've had to go through over the last amount of years. In your time in coaching. I guess now we've got time to open up the floor to a few questions. We're going to go straight outside, okay? Time management. This is only my first time doing this, so time management. I got a D for that, sorry. But I think let's just thank the ladies.